this is IBM Museum. And in a previous video, this PS2 Mall 60 that I have behind me on the bench went through and I tried a microchannel postcard reader and it just really upset the apple cart. It went through, made the machine pop up errors. And so I went through and pulled the battery just to drop the configuration, left it set. And I did run through the configuration again. People be happy to know that there's nothing damaged with the system. It came up once again once I reconfigured it. And so I did have the diskette drive that's working on the unit, and I've got that reference disk, of course, to reconfigure it. And I wanted to go forward with a little bit of other testing of an adapter. And that is where on my system with the ESDI controller, and that has 2 drives now. I have an expanded memory adapter, and that is, and I'm going to get to where I can interact with the page a little bit here, because this is called the 1 to 8 megabyte 286 memory expansion adapter. It's a 16-bit microchannel bus, and it can have 2 different ROM extension versions. I'll bring the adapter up here in just a moment. I've got actually several of them, and really, it's funny because otherwise, when you have the adapter on the system, it's called the 0 to 8 megabyte adapter. And, if you don't have any RAM modules installed in there, why go through and have the adapter installed? You're not going to have it with 0 memory on board just to have it keeping things warm or whatever. But you'll notice that it is, it has 8 megabyte as the maximum. It's got 8 30-pin SIM memory slots, and meaning that 1 megabyte per SIM gives you the 8 megabyte full capacity of that. Now, the unit that the adapter I have on the system with the ESDI drives and controller, that has just the 256 kilobyte SIMs that are populating that, all 8 slots in this case. I have better use of that RAM actually elsewhere as it is. And I'd like to go through and get SIMs identified for the, what 1 megabyte SIMs work in that, because there was an IBM format where they had some presence detect bits and a way of going through there and different from the industry standard 30-pin SIMs. Now, it does have a picture in there, and as I say, I'll go through and bring up the adapter, and you'll notice that there are 2 SIMs that are in there. And in fact, I'll go through and I'll bring up the image. I went through and expanded the image because I was trying to get as much information as I could otherwise on this. And I think I'm reading that those are Panasonic chips, and they've got particular silkscreen markings on either end. And I thought maybe in my bag of 30-pin SIMs, I've got SIMs that look very similar to that. Went through, and I've probably got 100 or so, just a ballpark number of these 30-pin SIMs of different types, and some are 3-chip, some are 9-chip. I know the ones that were 8-chip, but that don't have the ability for that parity bit. I knew that those couldn't be used right off the bat, but I didn't have any that looked exactly like this or anything like that. So what I did, I'll have to go through and pause and bring up another page, and that is this page at the Arden tool, and I'll link it in the video description. But primarily, the hunt for those 1 megabyte IBM sims, despite that they can be used on the PS2 Mul 2526 and Mul 3026, is for the SCSI adapter, the IBM SCSI adapter that IBM called the Spock, and that's the SCSI caching adapter, and it has 2 SIM sockets on it. Normally, those are populated with the 256 kilobyte SIM modules from IBM for a cache of 512 KB. And if you have 2 of the 1 megabyte modules, you can go through that work on that, of course. You can go through and populate those and get that cache up to 2 megabyte. And that helps the performance of the adapter a little bit. Now, there's a little shortcut here, and that one of the people of the SIF news group figured out, just going through and checking various SIMs, that they determined that if they go through and look for particular continuity on a SIM, I'll go through and demonstrate this in a bit as well, that they found some SIM modules that they identified here that would go through, and a couple of them would work as the 1 megabyte SIM. So together, it's marked on the chart as the 2 megabyte, but going through, and it's a test of continuity typically between pin 24 and 26, making sure that those are connected to ground, is a primary indicator, beyond pin 28 being open or not seemingly where it's going to any wiring trace on the SIM itself. And so let's go through, and I'll show the adapter up on the screen. We can probably keep this, let's hide the browser capture. We'll hide the internal webcam so I can get here, and I know that I've got this full field of view. So this is the adapter. And there are, as I say, there's 2 versions of this ROM extension chip. And I've gone through and I've cached those results. They have particular copyright dates and things like that on them. I think this, and of course you can read on the page of which the newer ROM. And it's got the 8 SIM slots. And normally it's populated with the 256 KB SIMs from IBM look like that. And as I say, on the other system, all 8 slots are populated. I mean, I have a handful of modules here, but they're populated with that just to have 2 megabyte on this whole adapter. And so I thought, yeah, if I could find 1 megabyte SIMs that work there, you could get as much as 8 megabyte on the adapter. Now, I noticed that this one has a bodge wire on the back. I need to get some pictures of these. I don't know what ROM version that one has. I think it's about the same at 8060. But I went through, and I do have the adapter. I knew that I had that ADF on the reference diskette from earlier from working with that system with the ESDI controller. Had to add that ADF in particular. And so I do have the adapter in there, and you'll notice I do have some SIMs. I all my sims. I found three, and of course you have to work in pairs normally. This is banked, and I've got two of these effective slots. I've got the same slots populated as I see in that picture at the art and tool of this adapter. And so the third sim is here, and this looks kind of unique. I thought I even had more of these around. It looks a little bit unique in a way that it has, get my camcorder to focus, please. So it has these nubs off the side that typically aren't on most of the other sims. And the sim modules that I have in there on this adapter, and it doesn't, in fact, I'm looking for, these are 80 nanosecond sims. So even probably faster than what this thing needs. But the two sims that are loaded there look the same. You notice the Oki chips. And I've got other sims that had, the same Oki chips and everything else. But going through, and here I've got my meter. It's probably not visible visible for continuity, but the beep is probably not audible on that. And I even have to determine even how to, oh, that might even show the good lighting and everything else. So I have us on the continuity, and you can see that the display change with that. And there is a beep that is probably just not very audible through my microphone. And what I do is I'm working through from the, it starts pin 1 at this end, pin 30 down where my pinky is. And so I'm facing the test leads. It's easy to go through and to kind of scissor your way down to where pins 24 and 26 have continuity. So, it'd be great if I could find 6 or more, 5 of more of these. I mean, that would populate this adapter. I'd have other 26 systems. That'd be great to populate with 8 megabyte on these adapters, since I have several of these adapters. Now, on the Mall 60, I'll go through, and I've got the web page hidden. Let me go through and turn on the internal webcam. Get switched over to the VGA, to the video capture. And I do have the reference diskette in there right now. And even though the hard drive is bootable now, I'm not going to go through and have it boot from that at all. So it counts to the 1 megabyte, and then there's an access of the drives, and there's a pause before it goes through and continues on with the count. And that is, of course, the confirmation that the memory works, of course, past even having the continuity. Not to see if I have to go through. And what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll actually just view the configuration. And so there we have the installed memory, which is on the planer. And then we have the usable memory of that 3 megabyte, the 2 megabyte that's on the adapter, plus that 1 megabyte on as planar memory. So that memory is perfectly good and functional for the, as you can see, that IBM expanded memory adapter 0 through 8 megabyte XMA. And this actually has that's what that ROM extension does with the chip that's on there, that big nice chip, goes through and can set up the memory for being expanded memory on the or extended memory on the adapter, and that's compatible with the LIM 4.0 specification, all that good stuff that's supported by operating systems and everything else of this vintage. So it's, that's doing great for that. And we do have, other than, and we've got that adapter in the lowest slot, so it's slot 1, and then there's the fixed disk adapter. So, I mean, we could go through Microsoft Diagnostics or something else, but I mean, it just shows the memory is functional and working in this case on the system. So that's great. Like I say, I'd like to find more of my sims that were of this particular type. And even for this, I'm going to go through. So I've kind of done working with the system for the night and everything else. This for the move the computer, that's what goes through and effectively parks the heads of this older hard drive style on the system. So this can go through, you can just go through and power this down from this once you're, now that you're finished working with the system. And I'll have to look to even see if there's an executable on there that parks the hard drives or something else, a way of doing that, copying over from the reference diskette to the hard drive itself, to be able to park the drive too. Who knows? But if you enjoy this content, go ahead and click on that like button. And as always, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do so. But this is IBM Museum. That's all I have for now. Thank you.